everyone. I'm Dr. Malaika K. Falla, Malaika International, seeking to make all lives actualized and inspire through kind actions. I am passionate about inspiring change through interconnectedness and taking compassionate actions towards our fellow human beings. Today, I'm so pleased to be back with you. I want to say thank you for all of your supports. I want to say thank you for all of the wash that I've received from you through all my videos. Thank you so very much. I'm excited. I'm so excited to talk about, at least continue the conversation about a beautiful topic, and that is courage. Courage in an interconnected world. Ladies and gentlemen, courage. Before I talk about courage, I want to say something. I've written something and I said, whenever you turn your head on the other side, whenever you turn your face or head to the other side because you lacked the moral courage to be your brother, to be your brother's keeper, you have imprisoned the world. Courage is a beautiful subject. Living in an interconnected world, to become courageous and having the courage, it takes a lot of any of us. Ladies and gentlemen, courage. What is courage? We have seen leaders of yesterday who had the moral courage. Gandhi, Dr. King, Mandela, Mother Teresa. Go down the list. Presidents, James Monroe. I mean, people that saw humanity, that Factory Douglas. Roosevelt. These are courageous individuals, people who wanted justice. Rosa Parks. Dr. Angelo of our time, even today, there's courageous people that are alive, that are carrying on. Well, let's keep the subject matter within its space where we can talk about it and let it be, and then you can go home and think about what is it that I want to be courageous about. First of all, let's define what is courage. Courage is having the ability and the capacity to feel courage about taking certain stands that usually you will not do. For example, Rosa Parks. She got on the bus that morning. She took the stand. I am not going to go to the back of the bus. Okay? I use that as an example. Several other good examples. And you can think about those. Dr. King. Okay? Think about things about yourself. Perhaps your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your friends who have behaved in a courageous way, who have taken the ability and that capacity to stand up for things that people are afraid to stand up for. Courage is significant It is extremely significant when it is aligned. When it is aligned with meaningful actions. So I don't want you to think about courage without aligning it with something meaningful, because that's what makes courage courage. Courage is connected to your heart, is a core. Courage can also secure what? It can secure a person's determination to do what? To be fearless and upright. Even when he or she feels what? Frightened about a situation. That still ties us into that definition, okay? In its most elementary, and outright. It's most elemental and outright, because when you whenever you feel frightened about things, and the moment you can tell yourself, I can do it, you do it. So you consider at that point having the courage to be courageous, to disarm yourself, okay? To disarm yourself from fear. So in its most phase of whatever courage will mean for people, think about this. So I'm thinking about courage. I'm thinking about my experience in the Civil War, where someone had a knife to kill someone. Where did I get the courage to stand up? Where did I get the courage to believe I wasn't even thinking about my own life? Where did I get the courage that you can't do that? It was that significant possibility that I didn't even think about. Okay? That I could be injured. I could have gotten hurt. But that's not all to the story. Or I could even die. I could have even died, God forbid. But I still had that courage to intervene. I know that the example out there is very graphic, or it is graphic, but it's displayed to the extent of the courage I speak about. Maybe all form of courage are not compromised of some type of conflict, or the actions that you and I might take, in response to a certain reasoning to a certain conflict. But physical courage is relatively easy to understand, as you can think about it. But there are other types of courage that I want you to also think about. And those other type of courage that I want you to think about, they also embody. They embody actions which are more unique. Nevertheless, it is so compelling to what? Our humanness. Okay? So, think about, there are research done on courage. So you looked at what they call social courage. So social courage, that entails where you are engaging in society. Dr. King, that interaction which involves that conflicts and these actions he's taking. Rosa Parks. Okay? But let us say that one has encountered a situation. So, let's use an example. What if a young person is being bullied and you're standing right there. Okay? What if someone of your age group has been bullied and you're standing there instead of saying a young person? Because a young person, we think about school. Because there are arguably many wrongs. There are many wrong things that will occur in society, even on, every single day of you and I, the life we live. And we have to choose to do what? We have to choose to be courageous, to confront them, to demonstrate what we call social change for the aspect of what? Humanity. Do you see where I'm going with that? So let's look at another form of courage. Moral courage. That moral courage, again, we tie that down to a person who stands up, that existent, who stand up for something, whether it's between right or wrong, that person chooses to intervene. What? In the interest of causing what? In the interest of causing everything right to prevail. Okay? So, almost at the end of my video, I'm going to synthesize what is moral courage, social courage. I'm going to tell you a story about courage. So, I will choose not to give an example through this section here. But the thing is that you can either choose to become morally connected, to be a part of doing something that is right, conducting yourself in a way that you exhibit a certain kind of courage, moral courage, to what? To your fellow human beings. Okay? There's something about emotional courage. And that emotional courage speaks to the notion that you can be open and honest. You can be open and honest about emotional conflict. You're not afraid to be expressive without regards to the cause of what will happen, no matter what you think. Like I said, I'm going to synthesize these three aspects of courage: moral, social, and emotional, into a story that personally happened to me. Okay? So that emotional courage, you made a connection. Human aspect is a connection we make, especially in an interconnected world, in a world of where we believe that we're human beings first. And being human beings first, we connect. We're living and breathing together. So, that emotional courage of a person, you find something going on, and what do? You connect, you empathize immediately. Your heart takes you back to that. Would I want to be treated the way that person's been treated? You emotionally make that connection. And what do? You act in response to the situation. Okay? And there's something else. It's called spiritual courage. And that spiritual courage is your existence, which is the very core of our human resources, that is our humanity. We conduct ourselves in that existence where we are so courageous, and we're courageous. I won't say righteous human being, but we're courageous. You know who you are. You know what you stand for. You know the core of who you are, your essence, and what you have done. You've chosen to be courageous with all regards to what might be whatever consequences. For the most part, it's a good consequences. Okay? Because that simply says there's others watching. Other people see exactly where you are, where your heart is. And your courage resides where? Your courage resides just below your spiritual beliefs. That makes you a subordinate to humanity. That's beautiful to say. A subordinate to humanity. It's not lower than humanity. It's just that you're serving your fellow human beings. Ladies and gentlemen, I chose the subject matter courage. I want to tell you a story about my courage, my moral courage, my emotional courage, my social courage, my courageous courage. I worked for an organization for quite a very long time, and something happened the month of April. That's amazing coincidence that I just remember as I talked about the story. This passenger came through, and he's considered quadrilubrant person. I mean, his entire body wasn't moving, so forgive me about it. And he was dropped off at the international airport by an aide who was taking care of him, who felt that she just dropped him off, left him without care. And this passenger sat in that chair, and he did number 1 and he did number 2 on him. And it was about 3 o'clock, because that day I had traded my shift and I was working for someone in the evening. Normally I won't work that shift, but I had traded. So I was working later instead of the morning. And I believe God has a way of directing us, and I took this as a direction. So I got called by one of the females who engaged me and said, because I was in charge of the group, said that we have a passenger that I've been called down to. He's a male, and he's done number 1 and number 2, and I'm unable to attend to him. What should I do? His situation is that he's a quadrilubrant. He's unable to move any of his body. I mean, he's strict, confined to the wheelchair. But here is a person that I looked at as my brother. He's been left alone, and it was not a very good situation. Actually, I immediately got on board. I contacted all of the necessary authority that was that should have provided me with the different informations. That includes DOT. I mean, you can just go down the list. We first of all ruled out that he is he's okay to fly. We sold him a ticket. Once we sold him a ticket, there was no question about that. The fact is that if we didn't get him on a flight, he would be missing his he would miss that flight, and he would have to sit there for the very next day. And the aide of this young man dropped him, left him, didn't care. And so he's there. He needs some cleaning attention. We're females and he's a male. Long story short, I went through all of the proper channel, and I got the okay from the proper channel authority that it was okay for him to get on board. So I was in charge of this group, and I was told that I had to make the last call. So I made the last call based on the data provided to me and all of the objectivity, and that included my humanness. So thank God everything was measured, everything balanced itself. So I said, okay, let him go. last flight. His parents waiting for him. And the minute we boarded this passenger on the flight attendant called someone above me. So this would be above a manager, above manager. So she called me. And she said, why did you board XYZ? And I said, what do you mean? She said, because he would mess the flight. And I said, are you kidding me? We sold him a ticket. I called everyone who's in charge, all the authority, and it said it's okay. Are you saying the flight attendant said he would mess the flight? She said yes. The flight attendant said he would mess the flight and you'll be responsible. I said, I said to her, I'm not sure if I'm hearing what you're saying is real. It sounds surreal to me. Surreal in a way that you are supposed to be the one to execute the regulations and all that. You're my boss, but here you are saying to me that I should not have put a passenger on the flight when everything has been checked is right. And you said because he would mess the flight, meaning he would poo and he would peep. Let me just say that. He already done that. We already cleaned him. But now he would poo and peep. So the flight attendants say they don't want to clean the poo-poo and pee-pee. We had just cleaned the poo-poo and pee-pee. I said, you kidding? She said, get upstairs. And I said to her, in a heartbeat, I'll do it all over again. She said, what? I said, in a heartbeat, I'll do it all over again. This is someone's son, brother, and everything. This is wrong what you're saying. Ooh la la. She put up a big investigation against me. Of course, it was a very difficult time in my life. I knew all of that situation, but I was not going to back off, not having the moral courage. What is moral courage? Emotional courage, that spiritual courage, that social courage to do what was right against all, even though I know it's right. But I was put to the test. And I went through a whole rigmarole. It totally changed my life. Which I'm going to talk about it in another video. But I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid. Long story short, and I'm going to talk about this in another video. Long story short. Unfortunately, the leadership did not see that they needed to do the right thing. This was everything. I mean, the airlines would have been charged at least $10,000 fine for not taking he's considered a disability passenger. And of course, this company has merged with another company who I see fully well that treat customers with the highest amount of dignity and respect. But ladies and gentlemen, they fired me for doing that. But I believe it was the will of God. I mean, it was such a very difficult time in my life. And I knew all the difficulties I was going through. And that also include being ill. But I wasn't afraid to take the stand of doing what is right for someone. My brother. The minute I saw him, I had the inclination, this is my brother. Why would someone do this? I went through all of the findings, whether it was subjective, every findings. I was given the directive by the people in charge that it's okay. Through through all of the checks with the DOT rules, disability, it was okay to allow him to fly. That changed my life. But it did change my life for the very best. At the time I didn't know, but it did. But I was not afraid, regardless of the problem I had in my life or the situation or the things that were going on. I stood up for something because I felt that if I turned my head on the other side, I would have imprisoned this world. And I was not willing to imprison anyone in this world. I'm going to end this video tonight, but I know I will continue this story, such an emotional story, but I don't want to take it any further than where I've told you and leave it just at that point. I want to thank you. I want you to go out there, ladies and gentlemen, and have the moral courage to stand up for something that you even know might even cause you. I know people say, why would I want to stand for something that would cause me harm? Trust me. Trust me. Everything has already predestined. And at the time I thought it was not so good, my life after that termination, my life just turned out to be the best. A few years later, I thank God for all of that. But I'll continue the story in another video. I want to thank you again, and I want to wish you a happy day. Thank you so much, and I'll say goodbye.